Hey everyone, I'm Jack, the Tabletop Scan Man. So in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about scanning tabletop miniatures, so anything like 28mm, 32mm scale on a smartphone. So yeah, if that's what you're into, stick around. So you need a smartphone. I'm pretty sure everyone has one of these now. My one particularly shoots pictures at 100 megapixels and it will shoot video in 8K. So both of those help with the software that you're going to put it into. Try and remember that the more amount of detail that you capture with your phone and in your photographs means the more amount of detail that will transfer over into your model, probably. And the less work you're going to have to put in afterwards. Other bits you're going to need. I've just picked up a scanning tent thing. Well, I say scanning tent, like a photo tent. Main reason for that is because it's got the green screen in the back. Just makes masking out of images and stuff afterwards a little bit easier. I've also got a turntable here. It's a £5 turntable you can get off Amazon. I'll put links to all this stuff in description and stuff. I've modified it slightly. I've added a little bit of green card onto the top of it. I cut a bit in the middle so I know where things are in the centre, and I kind of scribbled on it so that the Photogrammetry software, which is what we're going to use today, knows roughly where the bed is if I decide to bring it into the pictures, like if I've got a really big model, or if I've got a really small model but I want to like take pictures far away because the camera's struggling to focus and things like that. So yeah, alright, the last thing you're going to need, a couple of these like £5 desk lamp things, the USB desk lamps, LEDs and things like that, because the main thing you kind of want to do is remove shadows from your object that you're trying to scan. Like ideally, if you're going to do like photogrammetry outside, you do it on like an overcast day, so it's like all diffused and lovely and gorgeous. But we're not doing that, we're doing miniatures, so yeah, we want to create like a diffused look. Next up, I'll show you my setup and how it works. So this is my setup. Got my camera on a tripod, looking at my subject, spinning around on a turntable. I've got my LED light shining on the side, but yeah, that's about it. The reason that you want to kind of keep the lighting up so high, maybe even overexposing slightly, purely because you want the number of frames to be good and you want your subject to be completely frozen. So you want that shutter speed as high as you can get it, but also the ISO number as low as you can get it. The higher your ISO number, the more noise you'll have. The lower your shutter speed, the more blur you'll have in it. Software that we're going to use later picks up the blurry frames or whatever in this image and discards them. So it will automatically sort through it. Just adding more light, more things to your subject means that you have less chance of completely wasting your time and wasting frames. One thing to note, the actual model I scanned, I base coated in Citadel Wraith bone, purely because it gives a good contrast and doesn't have weird colour things going on, and I don't have to then colour balance it and chuck it into the software. I then later went and put on a couple of coats of like contrast stuff, contrast paints, purely just to see how it looked against the model that printed. I'll show you later, but for now I wasn't sure whether I was going to actually film this or not, so that's why it's painted. Okay, so we've got everything set up. The next thing to note is that you want to do a full 360-degree rotation at one angle, then you change your tripod, do it again at another angle, and then do it one last time from a very high angle. What you usually get with these photogrammetry things is you'll find that you get like blank spots on the top of the models because it hasn't seen like the top of the head or something like that. I'm going to end up with like a blank spot underneath this guy's base purely because I can't see it, so it can't generate it, but we'll fix that later. So yeah, for now, this is what the videos look like. Once you have got your videos captured by your phone, remember they want to be as high quality as possible. You bring them over to a program called Zephyr. So it's available online, and I think they do a free trial of it for 2 weeks. But I mean, check when you go sign up. I'm currently on the light version, so let's load it up here. Yeah, I'm on the trial. Let's continue with the trial. So basic things in Zephyr: left click is like a drag to rotate, and this is your sort of workspace. So to get started, you don't touch anything in this. You go up to workflow, you go to new project, you tell it you want to compute a 3D model after project creation, and then you want to compute a texture after surface extraction, and then you want to mask some images, and then you want to check online for some camera calibration. So yeah, tick all those. We want to import pictures from video. We want to go up to our video here just to get things going. Our frame rate was 24 frames a second, so what I'll do is I'll go and change that to 20, and then I'll just keep it all as the same, and then I'd say my similarity threshold I'll keep it at 15, frame queue size we'll keep it at 60, and then we'll extract frames and import into workforce. So I have done this before. Is that okay? Yeah. So yeah, let that run. Okay. So that took a good couple of minutes. I don't know. You'll be able to tell from the little clock there. I weren't tracking. So we got all our vids. So we've got all our frames come in from the video. They've stacked them all in this file for us. You can go back in and add additional photos into it through that. You can put a whole directory in there, and you can take some out. So once we got that, we go and hit next, and then we want to go and say we've got masks for these things, which I already do, which is great. But if you don't, let's say in this one you don't have a mask for it, you go to launch masquerade. So what it does is it brings up a picture of the image. Again, this is why I put it on a green screen, because it'll make color changes easier for the software to recognize. This particular software, the blue is a background, so all you do is add a little stroke to that, and it'll go and add in bits and put in a mask, and then you put in additional bits of red for the parts that you want to keep, and your mask turns a little bit red and everything. So what you want to look out for is that this edge is really nicely defined. Like you see here, I've lost a bit of detail there already. So it's just going in, making sure that every little edge is really defined, especially on these like internal areas where you've got like gaps and stuff, and you've got all these little bits down here. So yeah, just bear it in mind, go through every single image. When you're done doing one image, you can go and then click this, save and go to next up top. It'll bring the next image in, and then as you see it's all a bit messed up. I think it's copied the same image names but given them different like bin file formats, which is the mask file format. So in this case I'll do it from scratch for you. So clear the mask, yep, go here to the blue, say I want to draw around that guy, put some in there, something in there, something in there, something in there, something in there, and there, and there. And then you hold shift to go to the next one, and then draw a little red line, see if it picks it up. Yep. 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 that'll do for what we kind of want for this one. But yeah, so yeah, you get the gist. Go through, paint every single image that comes up. So yeah, from here you then hit next, and then it will ask you what your camera calibration stuff is. It doesn't know what my camera is because I shot it in video. If I shot it with a specific camera, it would know the profile and it would make life of the system a little bit easier. But in this case it doesn't. So yeah, you get to your orientation settings, go and put these to like whatever. I usually leave that one on general and then put that to like a deep scan. And then on here, keep that one on general again and then change that to high details. And then keep that one general and then go to high details again. And then go general and then default single texture, but I want high details again. And then yeah, it'll just say before you continue, hit the run button. This is everything, and make sure that all your frames are masked. It will let you know if they're not. And then go over your settings once more, and then hit run. Then yeah, see how it goes. Okay, so as you can see, reconstruction was successful. Let's see how successful it was. Did we get anything that didn't come through? Okay, there was a couple there that it didn't use. But I think it still made it, so let's see. Ah, look at that! Wow. Oh, that is great. That is so good. So yeah, to pan round, you use left click of your mouse button, and then zoom in is your mouse wheel. So looking at that, there's like a little bit of detail there maybe that needed capturing, and some detail around here that got a bit lost and looks a bit sharp, so that'll need a little bit of a clean up, but other than that it's good. It looks really, really good. So, and people that know this software will know that this isn't the actual mesh. This is a like texture map where it like slaps a picture on top of your mesh that's generated. So if I turn that off and then just put one of the meshes in, you can see what the actual mesh looks like. So even the actual mesh itself looks pretty good, right? Proof of the pudding will be in the eating, so let's put this in Blender and see what it looks like. So yeah, let's open this thing in Blender. So my Blender is here. Let's get that open. You get this window pop up, just click on the grey bit behind it, you get like a light added, a camera and a cube added. We don't want any of that, so just left click, drag and select it all and then hit delete. You then go over to here, file, import OBJ. Go to find where your OBJ was stored, so I put mine in my base locations. There we go, that's it imported. And as you can see, it's a bit spiky around the edges, like looking at it straight away. Then we just spin that round, so if I go and change that by sticking that where I want it. We'll have a look around it. So that is literally the amount of detail that is in this thing, and it is insane. Like if you look at that, it's covered all of the little divots in his shoulder and everything, and all the little bits of t-shirt, and where you have like the overlaps of where he's got like a dungareesy type thing going over his shoulder, and it's captured everything there. The thing that is a bit lacking is the face. So to sort of get that back, I mean even then it's still pretty good though, right? But to get that back, you can then go into like sculpting with it. So you go up to here to sculpting, and then you've got various brushes over here on the left. You just play around and see what you can get away with. Then you set sizes and radiuses and all different bits up here, and strengths and stuff. So you want like a little one for the eye, and then just that in a touch. And this eye as well, also go in a touch. Yeah, overall the main tools that you'll end up using, or at least I will end up using, is this one, the draw one. The draw sharp for things like this horn on the top of his head here. I'll show you. It brings it out to a nice point. Bringing all that up, bringing all that detail out. You kind of want to just play around with that until you can get it to where you're happy with. Have a little play with that, but to be honest, I did it already. So when I said about let's fix its base, let's have a look down here. So you come down to here, go back from layout mode, which is object mode to anyone else that's familiar with this stuff. You want to try and get him on a flat, or her, get it on a flat surface, so that you've got some way of cutting it. And then you just want to know that you're going to cut all the way through. So I'll probably say looks like a rotation, a touch that way, and then the rotation that way, and then maybe a drop down. Then you go into your edit mode, which is every single vertex on here is like grabbable, shakeable, movable in Blender. So all we want to do is select all those ones. Put it into, sorry. Need to put it in X-ray mode, which is what I've just done there. Hit that X, delete all those vertices, and I'm left with a nice clean base. Then what I want to do is go and select that edge loop again. Just fill that. Press F to fill it, and then I think it just puts a face in there, which it should have done. Let's see. Yeah, it's got a face in there. And then if you want to go in and make it proper, you can. You know, have a bit of software, but yeah, have a little play around with your mesh once it's done. I mean, this is by far the best way of getting to a starting point for me. I'm no good at just pure sculpting, well, not yet. But yeah, you can sort of go in and see that that needs to be squared off. So you've got different bits. There's loads of sculpting tutorials on Blender, on the internet. So yeah, by all means, go and have a look. Let me know how you get on. Okay, so once that's done, you go File, Export, File, Export, STL, and then dump it wherever you want. And then we close Blender. I don't need to save it because I don't have it. And then I've opened a software called Fusion 360. So if I go over here, let me go and just get the mesh. So once you've got this open, get a mesh tab, go to Insert Mesh, then find out where you're into Fusion. And again, for this one to rotate, it's middle mouse button plus Shift. And you can see I did a fair amount of work on his hammer and on his face and on the details of this little guy's face and just generic skin updates and things. But yeah, don't matter. So yeah, that's cool. Hit OK. And then what you want to do is go over to where it says repair. I'm going to click to select that body. You want to rebuild it, but you want it accurate. You want to turn this density all the way up, and then you want to hit OK. Now what that's doing is it will go and find the volume of this part and then remesh it for you into something that will be 3D printable, which is fantastic because it saves a lot of time. So yeah, I've got this part now is 3D printable. All I've now got to do is go up to export. So I want to export that, and I want it as an STL. I don't want to send it to a 3D printing utility. I just want to hit OK. And then there you go, go in there, save your STL. and then put it in your favourite printer software and print it out, which, you know, I've technically already done, so I'll show you that next. So here it is, the final model. If you've made it this far, thanks for sticking around. I think overall I would sort of struggle to tell the difference between the two. I mean, there's clearly a lot of detail in the original that's not there in the scan version, but to be honest, as a tabletop model, just for like kickabout games, it's fantastic, and I really hope I helped out. So yeah, I'll see you next time. I'll leave this with you just spinning around.